Welcome back. Controversy rages in the upper legislative chambers, the Senate. Now, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, or Repeal and Reenactment Bill, is supposed to have been ready, but it's not ready yet. But both chambers have passed their own version, and there's going to be an harmonization. But that is not the story. The story is the yearning of Nigerians to see how you can see results in real time being transmitted from polling units to the IREP portal for deepen confidence in the system. Now, that was part of the highlight of the provision of this amendment in Section 60. Now, the House of Representatives said they are all for it. But it looks like something played out in the Senate, that even the senators themselves are a bit not sure what is happening. Everybody's saying this. Some people are saying this, the others are saying that. We'll break it down in just a moment. But let me bring in my guest. He was a former principal officer in the Nigerian Senate and an ambassador designate. Senator Enang joins us from Abuja studio. Distinguished, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so very much, and good morning, Nigeria.
Good morning. Distinguished, I want to play the track. I hope he's ready. That the remark by the Senate President, which perhaps gave reason for the response by the opposition led by Abaribe. So let's take a listen to the Senate President and the person who raised the concern.
Transmission. We should retain what is in the existing extant law, which is transfer.
I second.
Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This Senate, under my watch, has not rejected electronic transmission of results. It's in my interest as a participant in the next election for such to be done. So please don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the crowd. We have retained what was in the previous provision.
To put the records straight, yesterday, the Senate did not, I repeat, did not pass transfer of results, which was in the 2022 Act. What we passed, and which the Senate President himself, when he was doing a clarification sitting on his chair, is transmission of results. Transmit, not transfer. What is in 2022 is transfer. And we don't want a law that is vague. We don't want a law that will be misinterpreted by anybody. We want a law that is clear, concise, and can be interpreted by all, and that is unambiguous. So it is electronic transmission of results, yes. I can assure you, on my honor and the honor of all of us who are standing here, that both the Electoral Committee of the Senate, then the ad hoc committee of the Senate, and also in the executive session that we had, that we all agreed on Section 63, which is electronic transmission of votes.
Distinguished, I don't know who is confusing who and who is not clear about what. If I heard the Senate President very well, he said we did not remove, but we retained. Means maybe the previous. The word that was used in this particular provision says, that's Section 6, subsection 3. That's Clause 60, subsection 3. The Commission shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to IREP portal in real time, and such transmission shall be done simultaneously with a physical collation of results. I'm sure you've seen what has played out. You understand rules and business. Help us make sense of what is happening here.
Thank you very much. And let me also say that by providence, the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, I was one of the consultants that worked with the House of Representatives on the Electoral Act Amendment, and I attended all the conferences and meetings that we held as consultants under Nwankwo of Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, Clement Nwankwo in Lagos. And I want to also say that there is no ambiguity. And this, we are talking about documents, and we are talking about legislative documents and legislative process. The only way you can understand what the Senate passed or what any legislative house passed is a look at the vote and proceedings. To my knowledge, and we are informed that the Senate is yet to pass the vote, is yet to approve the vote and proceedings of the particular sitting. And when you are considering a bill in committee of whole, as in the case of this Electoral Act Amendment Bill or Repeal and Reenactment Bill, you will see the provision, the 3 columns. Column 1, provision of the Principal Act. Column 2, the provision of the committees, provision in the bill. Column 3, the recommendations. And the recommendations will just be the clerks will, at the recommendations column, say returned, or amended, And they will also indicate who moved the motion for it to be amended. That is, for what was recommended by the committee to be amended. So it is not something that Nigerians will worry themselves about. And I have heard the Senate President, by the video that you have replayed again, on the live proceedings of the Senate. So I do not know where the confusion comes from. But let us have the vote and proceedings approved. And in the course of approving votes and proceedings, it is not just often said, the vote and proceeding will be circulated to all the senators. And each of the senators would have read the vote and proceedings. And when the Senate President comes or the Speaker, he would have said, page 1, page 2, page 3, at the end of it, he will ask members, is there any observation? Is there anything that is contained here that we did not pass? And they will say no, or yes, or any member can raise observation. And he will now say, I have examined and we've approved the vote and proceedings of the particular sitting. It is at that time that that anybody can say that either something is right or something is wrong. But as at now, there is no need for the apprehension because we are working on documents. And if there is any ambiguity, there is always the verbatim recorders. We have the verbatim recorders in the chamber. They look at the voice, they look at everything and correct. And of course, it doesn't even arise or get to the stage of looking for a proof from the verbatim recording because the document, the report submitted by Senator Simon Lalong, the chairman of the INEC of the committee, Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, and the review that was submitted by the committee review by the learned senior advocate of Nigeria, Adaramola, and every document. So it is not a situation that one person can sit and change, or can stand and change, or a word on the mouth can change. It is in the votes and proceedings. So there is nothing to worry for Nigerians to worry about.
Yes, distinguished. So before my colleague comes in, you consulted. So the recommendation is that results at polling unit level should be transmitted electronically in real time. Is that correct?
That is, to my knowledge and to my remembrance, that is what was or may have been recommended. Yes, and that may be what has been recommended on the floor by the committee. And so if that is what was recommended, changed or not changed, it is only the vote and proceedings of the particular sitting that can attest.
Because what we saw was Senator Monguno raising the point that, well, should we retain what is currently in the Act 2022 that says the presiding officer shall transfer the results, including the total number of accredited voters and the results? Or should we amend and add, or at least change it entirely to the presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results? And, I mean, the communication that came through even with the votes is that this new amendment, we're rejecting it. That's the new clause 60 sub 3, and we're retaining what was there before. So I'm wondering, what they did came through for a lot of people to see. So what is this about transfer or transmit? The existing provision says transfer.
The existing provision is the existing provision in the Electoral Act 2022.
Yes.
Now, the recommendation will be the recommendation that the committee, the Senate-led committee of the Senate, may have recommended. If there was a proposed amendment on the floor, it is what will be reflected in the votes and proceedings to say retained. That is, whether the proposal of the committee is retained or the proposal by Senator Mongono is retained. So what is important is what does the votes and proceedings say. Now, coming to the votes and proceedings again, if the vote and whatever the vote, if coming to the vote and proceedings again, what the Senate passes is not going to be the law. It is what the Senate and the House of Representatives passes. If there will be definitely differences, and so they will definitely have to set up conference committee of the House and the Senate, and the clerk to the National Assembly will be centrally involved, because each of the chambers, the clerk of the Senate will forward what the Senate has passed to the Senate. I mean, to the clerk to the National Assembly. The clerk of the House of Representatives will follow what the House of Representatives has passed to the clerk to the National Assembly. The clerk to the National Assembly, through his team, will now compare what the Senate and the House has passed and will draw up differences, the difference between what the House has passed and what the Senate has passed. And the advocacy from the public, the mind of the electoral management bodies in the course of all the advocacies will also guide the conference committee. But let me state what will definitely be. The conference committee will either take the version of the House or the version of the Senate. And of course, if the Senate and the Senate members, the senators, say that this is not what we passed, and in the course of approving the votes, even after approving the votes and proceedings, a member may move a motion for recommittal of the bill. Normally the leader of the Senate or leader of the House, that the bill should be recommitted back to the committee of whole for the issues to be reconsidered, if there is. But then the members of the public should trust Nigerian Senate and the Nigerian House of Representatives, and I speak on honor that the Nigerian legislature is definitely interested in making sure that the 2027 election and the Electoral Act is passed in a manner that will ensure fair, credible election, presidential and all other elections.
So the thing is, so let's you have done your explainers. I think the context is quite clear. All Nigerians are watching, and I think it's debatable. And literally, if you look to the pulse of the people, given the fact that we have seen technology in financing, that's fintech now, in calls, in the things we do, technology is all around us. Nigerians, especially the young persons, have been yearning for a day when we will begin to see a situation where we can vote electronically. So for you as a Nigerian, a former member of the Senate, now an ambassador designate, for the people who are arguing against it, is there any valid ground for that argument?
Who are arguing against what? Against electronic
transmission of results? Yes.
I don't think many people are arguing against it. Those who seem to argue against it are looking at the likely challenges of not having network in certain areas and so on. But I believe that there is enough coverage, network coverage. And there are also other channels and other institutions coming up with network solutions, you know. Therefore, Nigerians should not be afraid of it. And of course, you can even look at the political space. Who is going to be afraid? As of today, APC, All Progressives Congress, controls about 30 states in the whole country. And we admit, Nigerians admit, many people admit, that the only way that APC would lose the next election is if they don't contest. The only way that President Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, could lose the next election if he doesn't contest. But because we are on ground, we are everywhere. Everywhere we are receiving more than we expected. Everybody wants to be in APC. All the governors, all the members of the National Assembly. We have more than 2/3 in the House of Representatives. We have more than 2/3 in the Senate. We have more than 2/3 of all the states. So who is afraid? Definitely it is not APC. So I want Nigerians to have confidence that the APC-led Senate, that the APC-led House of Representatives, that the APC-led National Assembly is definitely interested in delivering for Nigeria and for Nigerians, and electronically a project, a fair and credible electoral act, an electoral law that will deliver acceptable election result. Nothing to be afraid of. Have confidence in Nigeria and have confidence in our legislators.
You will understand where Nigerians are coming from, Senator Enang. The 2023 election, for a lot of them, left a lot to be desired. In fact, some are still experiencing PTSD from the whole election result upload. You know, even for journalists, you know, we had prepared to receive the results on IRF, help Nigerians see like a second layer of authentication. So it will improve the trust of the people in election. And what did we have? An underwhelming outcome, which has caused a lot of people to now lose trust in the process. So when all this controversy around electronic transmission started again, a lot of them just said, you know what, that's it for me. We knew it. They were always going to find a way. But you are assuring Nigerians, Senator Enang, that for this next election, electronic transmission will be a thing, or at least that's what you expect, right?
Yes. I want to further assure Nigerians that coming from my background, I think I'm one of the persons who has contested the highest number of elections in this country. I've contested the highest number of elections in this country. I've contested for councillorship. I've contested and won councillor, contested and won State House of Assembly in Akwa Ibom State, contested and won House of Representatives 4 times. 4 times. Contested and won Senate, and contested and won I contested the last election, participated in the last election of the 2023 at the gubernatorial level, at the party's level. And I have participated, and I was a great part of I was advisor to the President Buhari of blessed memory from 2015. And I was part of the process of all those efforts to manage the Electoral Act, which could not be passed in the first term and which was passed in the second term. I was part of the process. So if somebody has participated and seen much of the electoral process and the challenges, it is I. And it is that experience that, by God's grace and by providence of the House of Representatives, I was engaged. I was included among those who consulted for the committee. So I want to see, I've seen all. And we brought all our experience to bear.
Indeed.
So Nigerians should be rest assured, have confidence in the National Assembly.
Right.
Have confidence in the APC-led federal government.
All right.
We will not mislead Nigerians.
I must say, Senator Enang,
2027 elections will be fraud-free.
We know your trajectory. I mean, we've spoken with you time and again during this whole process, and perhaps to congratulate you on the ambassadorial nominees list that you made at that time. But just quickly before we wind down, so INEC has announced that we have 2 more political parties, Democratic Leadership Alliance and Nigeria Democratic Congress, bringing the total number of political parties in Nigeria to 21. But for a lot of people, they still see Nigeria as largely one-party states, APC. The sheer number of governors that defected to the APC, just 4 governors left in the PDP right now. So yes, we may have 21 on paper, but in reality, they see just one party, the APC. Does this align, see your trajectory, Senator Enang, does this align with what you envision Nigeria's politics to be?
I want to say that it is the magnet attracts, and the APC. There is one song we used to sing in Akwa Ibom State. I don't want to sing that song here, but it simply says that a party and a people that were rejected, that they have now become the cornerstone. And we used to say, they were laughing at us as APC. In Akwa Ibom State, they used to beat us with stick. You know, they took us like pariahs in Akwa Ibom State. When I joined APC 2014 and we campaigned for President Buhari at that time and our candidate, and they called me many names, which I will not want to repeat here because it wasn't clean. It wasn't clean. It wasn't a clean name. But today, we are embraced by all. We have the state governor, His Excellency Governor Moino, and the entire team has joined us. All the other governors in the South has joined us. There is only one non-APC governor in the Southeast. Almost the entire Southwest, only 2 are remaining, you know, just to win them. So we cannot reject them. And if you see the level of development, the amount of money that is going into the state government, the hard economic policies that has been done by the Tinubu-led federal government, it has made money available to the states. The states are performing and challenging the federal government in many respects. So this is the pool that have come. And it is not we that is causing what the one-party thing, that Nigeria is pulling towards for one party. Yes. We've given them the space to play, but they want to play in our space. We admit them to play in our space with us. So, but I assure Nigerians that they are going to have a free and fair election. And everything they want as an electoral process, we will. After all, it is we. You are the ruling party. And as the ruling party, we are. We would even want to do something that enable us to have advantage. But we don't want to create any advantage through the electoral acts. We want to create advantages at the polling units and through the votes.
Yeah, I know that argument will still be on. Some are saying that the governors are giving big monies behind the scenes. Some are saying that there may be rigging of the election, so they are afraid for their future. There are so many things that are being said. But the APC has always said, look, the president is doing well. That's why they are coming in. That conversation is for another day. Senator Enang, thank you so much. Former principal officer in the Nigerian Senate and an ambassador designate. Senator, do you have an idea where they will be sending you to?
At the pleasure of Mr. President and the will of God.
I wanted to get to that. All right, thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate it. We'll touch base with you as much as possible. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll be going to the oil and gas sector. There's a big event that aggregates the big boys in the sector. It's been 10 years down the line they've been hosting this event. What is it? You'll find out in just a moment. Please stay with us.